Hey, Koko here. Why? Why do you live by other people's standards? I just saw um, some references to some politicians and things who say America is not the land of haves and have-nots. It's the land of haves and will someday have, or will soon to haves. And the problem with that logic is that, we're amazingly optimistic, but the problem is most people will never realize that. And I think what needs to happen is people need to stop living by standards that are set up by the media, by family members, how many people do you know have jobs and they hate them? They loathe and despise them. Probably a lot. You may loathe and despise your job or just not be happy with it, but it's your job and it's what you do and you make money doing it. But you hate it or you don't like it or it's not rewarding, it's not fulfilling, it's not. I was talking to my son a few weeks ago about the problem that people have. And when you're in your 20s, he's in his 20s and he's been working since he was in high school, but he's looking now to get a job that in his field. And I said, well, here's the flaw in what everybody does. You get a job, and let's say you're making $24,000 a year, and you're living comfortably. Everything is fine. You do what you want to do. You're having a good time. You're enjoying yourself. Then you get a raise. So you go from $24,000 a year, you go into $28,000. Say $30,000. You get a $5,000 raise. So now you have $30,000 a year. So what you do is you up your lifestyle, and now you're living a little bit better. And then maybe you get another promotion, and now you maybe making $35,000 or $40,000 a year. So boom, and you live through every penny you get. And then something happens and you lose your job. Now, the industry I used to be in, it was very, it was not advertising. It was, I did display, point of purchase displays, store fixtures, asset protection, things like that. And what wound up happening is just like in the advertising agencies, they'll have a big client and they lose that client to somebody else, and then all of a sudden they don't need all those people anymore. So they get rid of them. And it happens all the time. So in my industry, you're either with a company for 20 years or 3. Typically, that's how the cycle worked out. It was crazy. It was insane. It was the worst possible situation you can imagine. So what winds up happening is as you up and up and up and up, suddenly, you're living, you buy a house you really can't afford, and you have this and that you really can't afford, and a car payment you really can't afford, and you start, and you have credit cards, and you spend beyond what you have, and all of a sudden, you're in trouble. You don't have a job, and now all of a sudden, all this bad stuff is happening, and you get in a big hole. It's tough because, and a lot of it has to do with, you were perfectly happy living at your $24,000 a year lifestyle. You should have been taking that money and just socking it away. Now my son's better like that. He's kind of a, real good about saving and, and watching what he spends, and he does fun stuff, and he, but bottom line is he, he has limited income, and he does a lot for what he does, and he's not overextended. He's not overextended at all. I know people who owe $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on credit cards. That's insane. At 20% interest or whatever the heck it is. It's loan shark area. Loan sharks are envious of the credit card company, I think, nowadays. But other people are setting the standards. You're seeing stuff on TV. You're seeing product on TV. Now, granted, some stuff is fun to have, but you don't have to have everything. And you don't have to have it all now. I've got a 14-year-old car. 15-year-old car. And it runs great. There's a few things that are a little hinky with it, and I'm planning on replacing it with a newer old car later in the, a little bit later in the year. But I've had a great deal of, success with it, and I'm really happy. I mean, the car runs great. You got to be realistic. I mean, there are people who, the keeping up with the Joneses is a serious, dead serious thing within a company. Somebody else has something, so they feel obligated to have it. They see something on TV, they have to have it. A lot of times people have things that they really can't afford and really don't need because somebody on TV tells them they have to have it. I mean, that's how marketing works. There's a lot of people out there whose entire livelihood depends on making you want stuff you don't need, don't want, don't really desire, but they make it so necessary that you just have to have it. I have to have this. Do you actually need a new iPhone? Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. And a new computer, and new this and new that. Well, in my case, I've got a 5-year-old computer. Now, granted, it's a Mac Mini, and it runs fantastic, and it does everything I need, and it works perfectly. Will I get a newer one? Probably, or I'll update the one I've got, and because there's no reason to do any more. But once again, it's like you got to think this stuff through. Why are you living by other people's standards, or are you living by your own? That's the question. Look at what your needs are, look what your wants are, look at what your desires are, and decide, are they mine or are they somebody else's? And if they're somebody else's, then you might want to reevaluate that and change your life. Downgrade, upgrade, go to the left, go to the right, do something different. Think about it. Why are you living by other people's standards? Koko, out.